Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ian Bratt, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to this call this evening. It is a Wednesday evening, so that means it's a training call. And I'm going to hand across to Mr. Herschel Gibbs. Herschel, the call is all yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Ian, and I really appreciate the kind introduction. I'm super excited. You can feel the energy this evening, man. I'll tell you something great's happening. This is a very good time in the company's history. Major transitions upon us. And we've got some incredible information to share tonight. So I'm going to be very brief with what I have to share because we've got much more important things, in my opinion, to talk about going forward. So let's just talk about initially. This is unique tonight, you all, because in the midst of transition, I think we all have to rediscover. We have to sort of recommit. We have to really undo some things to get a sense of where we are, to find out what it is we're committed to. We're addressing individuals this evening that have been a part of MonyWize for some time. I think there are some of you all who've been very much new to our company. We want to welcome you all. But now is the time to look at our commitment. Independent of where we've been, independent of what you know, and how you've experienced things, it's time to reconnect. It's time to recommit on whatever level it is. And when we talk about commitment, it's just not about what it is we're doing right here and now for MonyWize. Of course, that's critical. But I think the activity and the focus of what we do in conjunction to MonyWize has to do with what we're dealing with internally. It's what we're committed to. And now is the time you have to really do some rediscovery on all aspects of your life, because what's going to happen going forward? There's two perspectives that I see. One perspective means that, or it's going to move into a space where most of us are unfamiliar with. We just haven't quite been here before. After 30 years of being in this industry, I've seen a few companies that have started from the very beginning, and for whatever reason, things didn't kind of pan out. And but when you start looking at where we are now, there are so many more important things that are part of MonyWize as far as the leadership and where we're going with the company. The idea of where we're committing to inside will dictate how we move and how MonyWize moves going forward, because it's driving from our energy. So I'm encouraging everyone to re-examine, to recommit right now to what it is that you're dealing with. And I will say this too as I go forward. I want everyone to clean the slate, wipe the slate clean, peel away the layers, whatever you have to do, share everything you've known and understood in this industry, because right now you're going to need to level that playing field and then recommit from there, and then recommit to a different platform. Okay, so that's going to be recommitment. The other part of getting qualified. Now, of course, in terms of the compensation plan, in order to earn and be eligible for 9 levels deep in our standard compensation plan, it requires you to have 3 personal retail customers. And of course, what you want to maintain yourself is maintaining 3 customers going forward. That's your standard qualification. But when I look at qualifications, I look at what we're qualified to do in terms of where we are with the company. How many of us are really qualified to be here? We know we're here, but are we qualified? And if not, we need to get to that space. Training, paramount. The part of training that I've always looked at in a perplexing way is how many people can plug into training, and if it's something that's familiar to them or they've heard it before, there's a tendency to sort of be comfortable, to be lulled to sleep. And training is the one part. It's the ultimate preparation, because what we do in life is always flexing. It's always moving and shifting. So we have to train to learn how to adjust and adapt. Even within the system that we have here, you want to gain mastery of what we're doing with MonyWize, especially with us being in a state of transition. Okay, so you want to make sure that where you are now, become masterful there, so you're equipped going forward to already have this playing field laid out, and all you're doing now is making the adjustment to bring on the new. But it requires training, not just here and now. You want to set the example for your team. They're going to move at the pace or the commitment or the expectation of what you bring forth. So you want to make the expectation of yourself and your team to attend training. It's important. Of course, the tools, I just think we've done a phenomenal job as far as the company providing all the tools that we need to be effective. But you know what? It requires us to pretty much use these tools. We have to put the tools to work. We have to. So there are some people who really don't even know whether our tools work or not. It's unfortunate, but the reality is that when you have tools, utilize them to your advantage. That's what's important. Use the tools that we have. And they're going to be expanding, going to a different space now. So there'll be other tools coming forth, but just don't make the excuse that you don't have the tools or what you need to become successful. Let's talk about going to work. This can be kind of tricky because here's where people can pretty much think that they're doing things or convince themselves that they're engaged in doing work when they're doing absolutely nothing. It's kind of interesting how you can spin your wheels and in your mind you're engaged. But the numbers don't lie, really. The numbers tell you proof positive where you're engaged. And it's not to say that you can't be putting forth the work and not quite getting the result. But I think sometimes we know if we really dig inside and look inside that there's always a place that we can do more. We can expect more. But it doesn't happen by just being in place. A lot of people have been a part of MonyWize for some time now. And we ask ourselves often, well, what's not happening? Well, I don't see the return. I don't see X, Y, and Z. We hear it. We see it. And you know what? For the most part, you feel it too. It's okay to be transparent. But the question is, are you measuring that against the work ethic that you're putting forth? That's the measuring stick. How many times are you engaged? How many times are people coming to you for you to determine what kind of result you get? How much work are you putting in? Not spinning wheels, but actually getting return. That's the measuring stick. And of course, we talk about creating small success stories. I don't know if there's anything more important. That's kind of maybe a loaded question, but I do know that sometimes people on the outside, they're looking at what's happening. I mean, people know when you get involved with the company, whatever it is, and you start talking to people and you piquing their interest and you feel they deserve to know. But they turn around and say, well, look, how much money are you making? Well, what kind of success have you had? Well, when you get to a certain place and you call me, we've heard that 10,000 times. But the reality is that when you come into MonyWize, you want to create a fast story. You want to be the attraction. You want to be the measuring stick. You want to set the example for your team. You want to create the value of what we have. The compensation plan means nothing if you're not having rank advancement through it. I mean, think about it. Comp plans are all over the place. The question is, what dictates in terms of what you're going to receive back and how your team moves is through rank advancement. That's your measuring stick there. Okay, so create the small success story, and if you've gone beyond that point, put that effort and focus on the newest member of the team. Don't allow them to experience the failure when they're in perfect time to achieve it. And then we have to duplicate through the team. It's all about duplication. And I think we have the perfect system. I love it because it's so much different than everything out there. All we have to do is engage everything that I've just shared to receive the benefit of that, and more importantly, you receiving it, making sure that people you're working with are having success. So when we talk about what we're going to have happen the first couple of days, the main thing is to help people get off to a fast start. Make sure that they have themselves anchored and have a sense of direction. So you want to make sure that in terms of the MonyWize component, make sure right away that people experience and they conduct that financial analysis. And as much as you can, get that done immediately. There needs to be an experience with our product. There needs to be engagement so you feel like you can articulate what's happening on some kind of level. And then make sure that when you come on board, that you become familiar with the website. Go through and navigate, find out what's there. Most of the information that you'll ever need is there anyway, but do your part and engage that. And also when you come in, if you're on for the first time, just make sure that people understand how to create the list of 50 individuals. This is another part that's very familiar that people say I've heard it 10,000 times, but at the same time, when you look at MonyWize, the list of 50 contains about 45 people who are dealing with the debt and or the challenge of eliminating debt. So these are individuals who really need to know or need to see, and you pretty much shortcut your own success if you do not develop this list and keep expanding it. Now, the initial reviews in terms of what you want to really connect with early, there are a number of tools that we have, but these to me are paramount. On April 1st and 2nd, there was a training that was done on Facebook Live by John Costino that deals with the approach and the exposure of the MonyWize opportunity. There are other videos and there are other tools that we have that speak to this and support this activity, but I just believe that there's nothing more powerful than these two videos because you're seeing in real time. You're able to feel and see and make the connection and that exposure yours. It is incredible. So I just believe that everyone coming in, don't just look at it once or twice. If you're new on the session right now, make sure your first 30 days, you're looking at this information every single day. That may sound excessive, but you know what? Your success depends on that long term. It's important. Plus, it helps you develop your mastery. Then, of course, make sure that you go over and over the website tools, go through the FAQs in the website. They tend to answer about 95% of all the questions that you're going to be receiving from people about the financial analysis in the software. So when we talk about the platform of being prepared, just make a point that you conquer the fear. This can be objective, it can be subjective. Fear is different things for different people, and it shows up in different ways. However we look at it, though, we know false evidence appearing real. We know that what a person's reality is or perspective is, that's the reality. But the way that you can conquer fear is to align yourself with people who are going in the same kind of direction. Sometimes it takes time to overcome certain fears, but one thing that you can do in that is become more and more familiar with what you're doing, so it becomes more a part of what you do. It becomes more possessive to you. It's important. Do not allow yourselves to make excuses. It's easy right now for people to say, hey, look, I was just getting comfortable here with MonyWize. Now here we go. We're introducing all these other things. Well, see, I'm going to hold back and just wait. And you start making all kinds of excuses about why you can't move and transition. And you know what? You shortcut yourself there as well. Do not allow yourself to make excuses. It's so easy to do because it's easy to justify. And you know what? The one way to really connect to overcome the excuses is when you connect your commitment to and your why to someone outside of yourself. That's a good part of it, because now if you're committed to somebody else and they're depending upon you, it's a little bit more challenging to make the kind of excuse, but we do have some people who still are going to go out beyond that and make excuses. If that's you, just don't look for failure, and more importantly, don't look at MonyWize as a company or an entity that doesn't work. A lot of us do that. We make excuses and botch everything up, and we're the first ones to run out talking about MonyWize doesn't work, I wasted my time, or whatever it is. Move back from that. And if you are part of this company and you're aligned with people around you like that, distance yourself. It's important for you to do that. Complacency is another part, another enemy, just kind of being lax. This is a challenge because we can get used to certain things like training. And then we get used to the routine. We show up every weekend. We show up every week. We're going through the same motion. Everyone's tapping in. But ask yourself, how many new people are you bringing forth? Are you getting complacent? Has it become too familiar? Don't allow complacency to sit on you, because it will take you out of the game. And we already know the significance of belief. You have to believe. My question right now is to some of you, being that there's transition about to take place, how much do you really believe? How many question marks do you really have that you wonder, well, is this going to work or not? Well, what if it doesn't work? Well, I just don't quite know. When you open your mind up to I don't know, or you question something, your belief is shot. You pretty much killed it. You've got to keep your belief alive, even if you have to lie to yourself in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? Lie to yourself, trick yourself, whatever you have to do to create a reality to keep you believing. You know what we talk about belief. We know that a lot of it's going to be a faith walk anyway. It's okay. is not going to happen if you don't take the faith to step out anyway. I'm not going to go that direction right now, but just understand it's critical. Lack of focus is another thing. Don't allow yourself to get split too many ways. Don't allow yourself to have too much time during the course of a day, not able to focus. Those of you with limited time, make great use of your time. Others who don't have that good time, lock in and focus on one thing that you can master and move to that. And of course, the last part, and I'm talking about with the enemy of success, is the failure to adapt or adjust. I want every one of you all tonight to pay attention to this, because it's this crossroad right here, that will determine your success or failure going forward. Now, people can ask me the question, Herschel, how can you say that? I can pretty much say it because I can look at the history of my life, and everyone, perhaps if you're transparent, you can look at your life. And you can look at your life and say, you know what, if I had done something a little bit different, if I had just done this, if I had just gone there, if I just spent time here. And what happens is we don't adjust. We don't adapt because it's familiar. And because of that, we get left behind. It's like trying to do network marketing now in a model from the 80s, and it's 2017. It's like trying to focus on Google, and you still have the yellow pages from 1970. You follow me? You have to adjust and adapt. It's important, or you live in the past. You do not want to be in the past right now with MonyWize. Now, I'm going to move very, very quickly here, and I know, and I want John to just text me, red flag me, whatever. Let me know, because I want to make sure you all understand and get this message tonight. All I want to share with you going forward with this part is just look at the approach and the exposure. 95% of what we do now is about approach and exposure, even with the transition coming forth. It's about approach and exposure, however you move to it. But with the approach and exposure, it requires a certain kind of energy and a certain kind of engagement. That falls right back on the 5 and 6 principles I open with. These are all elements. When you have mastery, you can approach people and expose people with confidence. The free analysis, well, this is one part right now that's a part of MonyWize. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, our whole focal point in everything we do is about the debt elimination, the debt reduction, and more importantly, the wealth acceleration. Let's not leave that out. But here's the way that if people don't quite see it, the free analysis is still your ace in the hole. And of course, once you have people on board, whether it's team members, whether it's going to be customers or whatever it is, make sure we stay engaged and follow up and follow through with people to move into the markets of people that they know. Okay, so when we talk about approach and exposure, this whole element here, I spoke about this on speaking to April 1st and 2nd. Now, I could talk in general terms of how you want to do this, but just in gist. Here's what you want to do as you look at approaching and exposing. Look at the idea and the need to be prepared. You have to be prepared. You can't step out here talking about things you're not familiar with. Now, people say, hey, you know what, just throw it against the wall and maybe a few people will stick, or you hear people talk about fake it till you make it. That's okay. But at some point in time, there's a responsibility to not other people that you're around, but to yourself. And you have to be prepared. You can only go so far with not being prepared. And you begin to see the results right away. They're not pretty. Be prepared. When you find yourself nervous and anxious about what you're talking about, 9 out of 10 times it's because you are not prepared. So prepare yourself. Take the downtime and go through information, regurgitate it. It sounds like you've been over time and time again. It's okay. It can't hurt any to know more, but more importantly, if you're doing that, now you can speak to people on your team about the importance of that. Make sure you give your prospect the best possible way to make a decision. Some of us talk to people and we get hurt because they don't move to it. These are good friends of ours. People have done the free analysis, and because of that, well, why didn't you get the software? Well, you see the software analysis, you're in trouble, X, Y, and Z. Well, you know what? It could be one thing that a person did not receive that could have been critical in making that decision. So I'm just saying, give your prospects the best possible information to say no to resist to. If they say no after that, you've done your part. But don't move to them half-heartedly because you're not prepared. And again, move with excitement, move with urgency. This can be a challenge sometimes if you're not finding the results you're looking for right away. It can be a little bit of a challenge, being patient and being persistent and being consistent. You know, it's these things sometimes you kind of you start, well, I don't know. I mean, why is it not happening? Well, be mindful of that, because what happens is people are going to move to and embrace the way you step to them. People are not buying your products, you all. They're buying you. They're moving from your vibration. You might not know anything you're talking about, but you can be excited enough where if they can see this and see your excitement and what you're exuding, they're like, I don't know what's going on there, but I need to at least take a look. That's what you want to do. You want to be attractive, be engaged, be urgent, be excited. And then whatever you do, don't fire hose people. Don't over inundate people with information. Just give them enough. We get excited because we think it's important for them to know. Most people don't need to have a whole lot of information to make a decision. They know what they're looking for. We need to expose it and let them decipher for themselves. And whatever you do, let your expert move your prospects through. Please be mindful of that. You don't have to over-engage it. Don't just be the kind of person where you're just seeing it for yourself and you have to be the one to close it and present it, all these different things. No. Be the person, as we say, with the hookup, for lack of a better term. You want to be the person that's going to be the intermediary. You're the medium point. Always be there. Expose and pass it. Expose it and pass it. That's all you want to do. Get that in your mind, because as we go forward the next 90 days, the next 6 months, the next year, everybody's going to be in a transitional point. Okay? Everyone's going to be learning something new. It's okay. This is where you have to be willing to utilize your experts, utilize your resources. We have incredible leaders on board with this company now. You'll hear from them a little bit later on, but I'm saying we have experts abroad coming forth that'll be your resource. Use them. Don't get complacent and lazy now. I'm talking about use them effectively. And whatever you do, be brief to the point with the information. We're going into a space right now. It's new information, so people don't need it all. Just be mindful to just kind of bring it forth. And whatever you do, you don't have to know everything about it. You don't have to know everything. Be prepared. Being prepared doesn't mean you know every nook and cranny. Being prepared simply means you know the sequence. You know the order. You know the passage of what people need to see. That's what preparation is about. So when we start looking at the tools that we have all kinds of Facebook videos. You know, I have to speak to this very briefly because, we have an owner and a founder with John Costino. I know we're training right now, but people need to really understand what we have in terms of not just the videos and audios. Those tools are great. But you know what? Use Facebook Live, man. You need to embrace that, because there are things there that are going to be able to build you and a platform that will cross the barriers of whatever you're doing in your business. And I'm compelled to speak now about this because what John Costino is now doing with Facebook Live is not just transforming lives, but if we begin to look inwardly, if we start engaging inwardly, it'll have direct impact on his business. And if you think about it, he very rarely talks about anything about MonyWize, which is what I love about it. But you know what? If we're not engaging it, we're missing. I want to make that point. Why? Because I'm talking about March 25th, Stop the Insanity. I'm talking about the 10-minute videos. John is an incredible messenger. Use him to deliver your message. Okay? What causes a person to struggle and fail in MLM? An 8-minute video tool that's critical for people who are experienced in network marketing. We have all kinds of customer videos and approaches. I won't deal with them tonight about this in particular, but just have in your mind that when you talk to people and you're prospecting people, the main thing you want to do, you want to get them to do you a personal favor. People do trust you. So in your mind, don't walk in thinking they're going to say no. You go in expecting them to support you. You've supported them in whatever way. Ask people to do you a favor and simply evaluate what you have. Let them know as a person of favor, you're supporting them. You have challenges in your life you need some support with, and here's the tool that you think is beneficial, but you want their opinion. All you need is 15 minutes of the time. You don't have time either, but you need 15 minutes for them to evaluate it. That's all you need. And in the space of the 15 minutes, you're going to use your tools that we have. Notice how none of our tools are in excess of 13 minutes. And you have a couple minutes to do what? 3 ways to an expert. That's 15 minutes, whether it's your prospect as a customer and or an associate. It doesn't matter. You need people's support, and you want their encouragement to look at your information. As we begin to move forward, effective 3 ways, I'll zip through this part right here, you all, because we know. I just spoke about the importance of being that intermediary, being the person that you know that you want them to see the information the way you saw it. That's all you want to say in terms of 3 ways. People respect you already. They know you. For the most part, warm market. Now, there's another element, too. There's a realm in the social space. It's not my expertise. But what I do know, I don't care what you're dealing with in marketing, there has to be a relationship to some degree. And it has to be positive. So however you move in that, you are still the intermediary. You're moving information or a product from yourself to a consumer. That's still the same thing, an intermediary, but whatever you do, it has to be edified. It has to be edified in text. It has to be edified in the message. It has to be edified in person. Whatever it is, the expert source has to be edified if you want people to embrace and or utilize your product. That's the 3-way system. However you look at it, whatever space you're talking about, this is still vital when it comes to information. People have to trust the source. Now, when it comes to the edification part, I don't want to speak to this part because guess what? We're going into space now where it's just not about people. We need to be able to edify each other, which means sometimes we get out of our own way, but build somebody else up and make them credible. Give people the respect that they need to have to be the authoritator. Give them the respect. Build them so that your people can listen to and hear what's being said. Don't just talk about, well, here's John. Hey, John do this. And yeah, I worked with John last week and last year worked together. No, you got to build John like he's the next thing, best thing since sliced bread. That has to be the way that you do that. Okay? Now, in terms of how you move information, just know, whatever it is, always control the flow of information. Do not send information out to anyone randomly with these video links. You kind of wonder, well, wait a minute, I sent the video out. I work with the person. This is my sister. It's my cousin. I'm close to the person. And they said, oh, just send it over. Take a look at it. And because they're close to you, you send it. Even though we tell you not to, but you still do it. Because you can't get beyond the emotion of knowing the person, and it's been 2 months and they still haven't responded. I already know on the session tonight, I'm speaking to somebody. You know how when you throw a rock into a pack of dogs, you know what happens? I know you're listening, and it's happened to you as well. I'm saying just suck it up, keep yourself moving, just stop doing what you know you don't need to be doing. Okay? Edify the videos. I just talked about that. Get people's opinion, and more importantly, always build up what you are a part of. So as you begin to move people, the setup is pretty much okay. All I can say there is just when you talk to people in person, just make sure that you set up everything the right way. Even if you're marketing on different platforms, set things up. Don't just say, go over here and take a look at this. No, build it up. Create some kind of edification. Create quality and value for what it is you have. It needs to have value. You have to create that. And that's a part of the setup. It's almost like a 3-way system, but it's a little bit different because here now is like a person you're going to lay out on the table somewhere. And you want a person to walk by. You're in some kind of a platform in some fair somewhere, business expo, and it comes down to what? Seeing that you have on display something that's attractive. Well, guess what? What did you have to do to make that happen? You had to set it up. It didn't happen by itself. You set it up to do what? Give it value, give it quality, and to do what? Make it attractive. That's what we have to do. Now, rank advanced bonuses, all I can tell you all, nothing is going to shift with this going forward. I don't have all the detail now to share with you. All I would say about rank advance bonuses, this is something that it's your gauge to move. It's not a task that to overcome. This is the process to bring people through. My encouragement to all of you all, if you've already moved or did not find yourself moving through successfully through rank advance bonus, remember the bottom line. You came to MonyWize for long-term residual income to create wealth for you and your families. If you can't get it done your first 120 days, do not let yourself stop feeling like you're a failure. No, you're not. No, you're not. And I think this happens with people because we feel like if we don't move in the first 4 months, it doesn't happen. Now, trust me, you want that to happen. Everything you do, if it can't happen for you, make it happen for your new team members, your new partners. But at the same time, that's not a gauge for your future success. What you're doing in MonyWize 3 to 5 years down the road has not a whole lot more to do with the rank advance bonus system. It's there. I don't disrespect that. I don't disown that, but I also know long-term what you're doing here. And I hope you know as well. So having said that, the infinity coding bonuses, all these different platforms here are going to begin to move and take shape. And I don't know all the intricacies about what's happening. I don't know all of that. I just know that for the most part, what we have here in MonyWize, the rhythm and the direction of what we do will be intact. And I don't care what happens or where you are in the industry, where you are in the States, I don't care. I don't care if we're marketing clothespins right now. You're in a place right now to transcend your whole life, transform your life. I mean, you're in an amazing place, but you have to have the mastery. So your next 30 days, do these things. Duplicate, move with urgency, get yourself qualified, lock it in. Don't become complacent. Challenge yourself, move yourself, empower your team. Be the example. You're the magnet. You're the one that's going to attract everything. Quit worrying about what people are not, what's not happening for people. Quit worrying about that. Worry about what's happening with you. If it's happening with you, it'll resonate. It will move across everybody else because guess what? Like an oasis in the desert at the dark of night, you are going to be the light. You're it. MonyWize in this industry is, I don't care what it's been before, what it's looked like before, I don't care. People know we're here. It just hasn't been visible. People know we're coming. The question is, do you know where we're going? That's what this is about. So the focal points, I can shift the focal point very clearly to where it is, but just keep doing what you do. I'm not taking any more time to talk about what's going to happen. Prepare your mind. Move yourself into the space where you know you belong. And let's make it happen with MonyWize. Look at the big picture. Take the responsibility. Don't be dependent on other people. Don't look to anybody else. You have an incredible system. Don't be dependent on it. The system needs you to be uplifted. You're the foundation of it. I don't care what it is. It doesn't stand if you don't have strength to make it stand. So whatever you do, do not be lulled to sleep. And what you also want to do is get yourself on board. If you not have been on board at this point, you need to get on board. I'm not talking about seeing things with a fake vision. I'm talking about you need to engage. You've been wondering what's been happening or what hasn't been happening, not just in MonyWize, but in your life, in your career. Guess what? It's time for you to put up or shut up. It's that simple. So having said that, I'm going to turn this training session over because I don't want to get to the point where it's all off point. No, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to, if it's okay, I'm going to share and turn this back over to John Costino. I'll turn it back over to Ian. But I want to thank everybody this evening for allowing me to just share my perspective. I'm excited. I'm sold out. I'm fortunate, and I'm blessed, and I know it. So I don't care how long you've been here. You stayed long enough to put yourself in position. You stayed here long enough to do what you need to do to change your life. I don't care if it's been a week or 2 years. You stayed on board for a reason. The question is, are you going to answer the bell? Mr. Costino, the floor is yours.
Well, Mr. Herschel Gibbs, first and foremost, as always, I thank you very much for not just doing a phenomenal job. And, and I have to say this, I know you absolutely rushed through that training, yet still delivered a powerful message. So first and foremost, thank you for what you do on a weekly basis in training and educating the masses here with MonyWize. But more importantly, I really want to thank you for being, along with Jerry and Tracy Montgomery, the most incredible ambassadors for this company in our pre-launch and startup phase and during this first year of business, because we as a company are nothing without our leadership. And you have been, let me just be blunt. You mind me letting everybody know how old you are, sir?
Not a problem.
Because we've been chewing the same dirt in this industry since about 1994, 95. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yes, it is.
You look amazing for 39 years old. There's no question.
Thank you, sir. I work on that.
But I need people to understand that, Herschel Gibbs and I began our careers in this industry just about 30 years ago. And we met, we worked together. I developed a tremendous amount of respect for him back in the mid and late 90s. He had a capacity back then to teach, to train, and to deliver a message, to truly empower people to go out there and succeed in business. And so it's very humbling, and it's with great sincerity and love that I say thank you for being a part of this company, MonyWize, as we have built a foundation and as we transition into this next phase. So, Herschel, please feel free to stay on the line. I may come back to you towards the end, but we are in for an extremely exciting time. And before I move to the next step, because you have, very, very clear, intimate knowledge from conversations that we've had these past few months, do you want to sum up for anybody what, in your opinion, is about to happen, not just to this MonyWize opportunity as we merge and evolve, but what's about to happen in this industry that you've been a seven-figure earner? I want to make sure people understand. Mr. Herschel Gibbs isn't just some guy who was a rep or just some guy who was a leader. We're talking about a significant seven-figure earner in this industry with the long-term, 3-decade career. So when he speaks, you pay attention and you listen. I call him Morpheus for a reason. So anybody that's ever seen the Matrix movies, I don't throw accolades out there, and I certainly don't give false compliments, but I refer to him as Morpheus. So, Mr. Herschel Gibbs, any thoughts you'd like to share before I begin to talk about what's happening?
John, I look around the industry, and I know I have a sense of what people are looking for. We see it oftentimes. We see it in different forms. People are frustrated. People are pulled back. People are hurt. I talked to a very good friend of mine. She's in her early 70s now, and she's devastated in this industry because she put so much into it. And people are searching, but she just didn't have the energy. She just didn't have the get up and go. She just didn't have the confidence, the heart, the drive to do it. And I think a lot of people are in that same space. And what I think happens here with MonyWize is that we are that oasis, John. We are that one thing that people are looking for, but in a distance, it just doesn't look quite right. It's like a mirage. And I make this parallel now because right now people are drifting. They're like nomads out here. Everybody's moving to false information. People are moving to false rhythm and hype. And I think that we have something solid. And I think that what you've done, John, and your development of MonyWize, the vision, the revolutionary concept, I think it's on point. And I think just like everything else, sometimes you have to make a bold statement to get people's attention. I think you've done it. I think you've been revolutionary. And I think at some point in time, people are going to get on board or they're going to get rolled over. But I feel in the industry that we're the foundation. We're what people are looking for, so that's why I encourage everyone here, lock in, don't let yourself be knocked off course. I don't care what's happened, but we're in for something so big we can't even fathom what's about to happen. It's hard to even imagine that. After 30 years, John, I can still say that at this stage of my life. So I applaud you for taking the step that you have done and who you've been, John, to be the revolutionary that most people in the industry do not have the courage to be. So yeah, if you are listening on this training session right now, I don't think you have any idea. And if you do, you probably need to step up the game a bit, because this man right here, John Costino, people say, Herschel, why are you still here? I tell them very clearly, because I'm afraid not to be here. And that's my perspective, John.
Well, my friend, I love hearing you say it that way. We've worked together so closely that, you're family. You're not a rep in the field. You're not a field leader. In fact, let me go ahead. I might as well add my video to this. So it's important that you understand when I have that dialogue with Mr. Herschel Gibbs, it's not a company owner and founder talking to a field leader. We're family. We've been working together for a long time. And when Herschel says, I'm afraid not to be here, he's not being silly. He truly understands that what we've been on a mission to do, and again, Herschel, we can go back to 1997. You remember in 1997, we made a hard transition in the industry to move from an opportunity that cost $499, where we figured out, we learned, we saw, we documented that 95, 96, 97 out of 100 people never made their $500 back. We transitioned to an opportunity that had no investment, no risk, and we set records in that industry. While that was a successful run, you've seen what's happened over the last couple of decades and what we're about to do. Would you simply say that anybody in this industry that's hoping to have success here over the next 3 to 5 years needs to take a pretty good look at what we're doing?
I really do, John. I think people, especially those that are putting it to beat up their pullback, there's something special happening here, and it's something that it'll be lasting. So yeah, I think that people have to find themselves here, John. If they don't, those around them in their lives and their companies are going to make their way here. It's going to happen one way or another.
Well, and I appreciate you saying that, because I know when I have the conversation as the founder of the company, a lot of people say, well, of course, what's John going to say? Don't join my company. But I think I've earned the right as a field leader over the years and as a trainer in the industry that I don't talk just to hear myself talk, and I certainly don't ever want to be wrong, so I avoid that at all costs. We've got something special about to happen, and I appreciate you being here. I know there's an awful lot of people on the line tonight that are here because they want to know what's about to happen. For whatever reason, they missed the big picture with MonyWize, but they're here now to see what's about to happen. So, Herschel, please don't go anywhere, but thank you so much for sharing, for delivering the message, and for dialoguing with me here for a few minutes, my friend.
The honor is mine, John.
I appreciate that. Now, for those of you that are here saying, all right, what's Costino up to? What's the big buzz? I'm just going to be blunt. I'm going to let you all understand what's been going on up here for the better part of 20 years. I've been diligently working with different people and different companies over the last 2 decades to clean the industry up, to simply say there will be a company that is safe, and I mean the word safe, for the average person to try entrepreneurship, to try a home-based business and say, look, I don't know if I'm going to get wealthy, but I want to give it a try. Is there a company out there that's affordable and it's designed from the ground floor up for me to succeed and for the people I introduce to succeed? Because, see, the industry of network marketing is not designed that way. It's a broken model. It's a model I've tried with the help of others to fix, and it's why I'm saying to you right now that I'm no longer trying to fix the broken model. Instead, I have now been able to, through good fortune and through, I'll just say, divine intervention, partner up with people with the same vision, but a slightly different angle. We're not going to clean up the industry. We're going to create a completely new model, for doing business. So it'll be in the home business industry. It will be a home business opportunity. There'll be no cost to join. So the enrollment will be zero. It will provide tremendous value in multiple areas. The first thing that I want to drive home is we as individuals struggle and suffer in so many areas of our lives, but the majority of the time we ignore them and are focused only on our financial struggles. So we've covered that by taking away the high enrollment fees of $300, $400, $500. I've seen them as high as $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and the high monthly commitments where companies will then force you to buy things that you don't want and you don't need. $150, $250, $350 a month auto ships for products that you don't really want. More importantly, products that are marked up and overpriced 1,000, 1,200, 1,500%. Then on top of that, they have ridiculous, almost, not mandatory, but almost through the fear of loss and through the peer pressure, ridiculous fees for running your business. So we're cleaning that up. The name of our new company is called Six Sigma Social. And Six Sigma Social is not just a name. And when I get done telling you over the next few minutes why this is so, I'll just say revolutionary, you'll understand that anyone who enrolls in our business, who chooses to become a part of our social networking company, the very first of its kind, is going to have some unique advantages that have never before been offered in home-based business. So it goes far beyond the fact that you'll enroll for free. I won't even say for free. Let's go ahead and put this out there right now. I will prefer for people to never say it's free because people have a bad paradigm, a bad idea of what that is. So we're going to say there's absolutely no enrollment costs. There's no investment. You enroll at no cost, and more importantly, here's what you will receive if you choose to be an active representative. With our program, when you get started, you'll have the ability to offer a number of services that will all have tremendous value to you as an individual as well as to your friends and family as customers. The obvious one is our MonyWize software. And I'm not going to turn this into a training on the MonyWize software because there's tremendous information out there for you to review. But the bottom line is it's the very first and only product in the history of home-based business that we can guarantee you'll save money if you use it. If you use our software, it is guaranteed to save you more money than it costs you. So what does that mean? That means that you don't have to become a representative and build a huge group to now make enough money to offset your enrollment fees and your monthly fees. This is a product that if you took it to your mom, to your sister, to your best friend, and they actually used our product, you're leaving them in a better financial position than they were when you talked to them. And I don't care what company you have been or are currently with, you can't do that. You can talk about your magic berries that come from, deep in the heart of the rainforest or top of the Himalayan mountains or deep at the bottom of the ocean, but it's still a product that they will have to be convinced works, and they're going to have to be convinced to continue to want it. We can talk about how good it is for your health, but the bottom line is 99.9% of the products in this industry are marked up, again, so high, some as much as 1,500%. And if you don't understand what that means, using 1,000%, the product costs $3 and it's sold for $30. That's not really the best deal for your friends and family as retail customers. So the bottom line is it makes it difficult for people to succeed in home-based business when you're dealing with those things. But to make matters worse, the majority of people, when they get started in home-based business, they're not equipped. They're employees. They've been programmed from their schooling to go be employees, and then at jobs, they're programmed not to be free thinkers. They're programmed not to be problem solvers. They're programmed to sit in that desk cubicle or wherever it is they work and do the job at hand, do the task they're given, but not to go out there and problem solve and expand companies. So when people get started in home-based business, they're not equipped to go out there and succeed. And that's why they pay a lot of money to go out there and attend seminars with various speakers and trainers. And I'll say, great, you know, it doesn't matter who it is. They're there making their money by teaching people what they think they need to know in order to be successful and more productive in home-based business. Now, that all being said, our opportunity is unique in that it's going to go from the MonyWize software platform that we have right now. We're going to add to that residential electricity and residential gas. We're going to have standard electricity and 100% green electricity, and we're going to have residential gas. So for those of you that have worked with me in the past, or worse, have attempted to compete with me in the past, we're going to go back into the industry of energy deregulation with a brand new model and a completely new paradigm. And the brand new model and completely new paradigm is what I now have as a partnership with my opportunity. So again, no investment, no cost, no enrollment fees. But when you get started with Six Sigma Social, we're going to share with you something that doesn't exist in home-based business, and that is the very, very highly effective and exclusive training called The Great Discovery. Now, I'm going to set the stage, and I'm going to apologize in advance because I will not do it justice. But the good news is I have the CEO of that company to share with you tonight. Now, Six Sigma was created 30 plus years ago, and the co-creator of the Six Sigma training program is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Michael Harry, and he was the co-creator of this program decades ago. It was created at Motorola, and it was then brought out there to corporate America. And over the course of the last 30 years, the Six Sigma way of thinking has helped countless corporations to create their corporate culture, their corporate environment, develop their corporate training at the high level senior management, C-level senior management. And they've been wildly successful. And if I'm incorrect, I'll ask this wonderful young lady to correct anything I say wrong. But over the course of these last 3 decades, what the Six Sigma training program has done has helped 87 of the Fortune 100 companies. And I want to be clear about this. When we talk about the Fortune 100, it's the gold standard for business. 87 of the Fortune 100 companies have been clients of the Six Sigma way of thinking, have utilized Six Sigma's skill set, its ability to create that environment, that culture, and develop that training for their senior level management. And many of those companies will credit Six Sigma as being a big part of why they're in the Fortune 100 in the first place. Now, that's a pretty important, impressive testament when you think about the fact that 87 of the Fortune 100, that's a pretty good percentage. And I could be wrong, but I believe it's at least 80. Now, of that 80 plus companies, more than 50 of them were trained by the co-creator himself, Dr. Michael Harry. He went out there and specifically developed the Six Sigma Management Institute to be the most effective way to go out there and help these corporations to indoctrinate themselves into this Six Sigma way of thinking and to become as wildly successful as possible. And there was one request that kept happening over and over. And the request was, the training is phenomenal. The training is priceless. It's doing wonders for our senior level management. Is there any way you could create a training that would be just as effective to the blue-collar employee base, to the masses? You know, you've got a company that might have a couple of hundred people at senior level management or less, but 10, 12, 20,000 employees around the country and around the world. And so the request was, could you develop a training that would be tailor-made for the employee base, for the blue-collar employee base of our companies? And so over years and years, Dr. Michael Harry was creating this next generation, this next elevation of the Six Sigma training to bring to the masses. And he recently passed away after many years of investing all of his time into this creation, and he asked his wife to continue this message to the masses and deliver this incredible training. And she has been working diligently in doing that with her team, but she is part of this new corporation that's being formed. So I'm going to ask her, in her words, to clean up whatever I said incorrectly with as much sincerity as I could have said it. But she's going to come on and she's going to share with you the Six Sigma way of thinking and the great discovery, which will be part of every one of your back office. When you become a part of this company, when you pay for your website, your back office fees that like every other company will charge you for, we're not just giving you a back office to manage your organization. We're not just giving you websites to promote your business. We're giving you world-class training that's going to be exclusive to our company. You will be the first people as a company to access this training. And here's the impressive part. It's not just, here's some training, go read it and figure it out. Over the course of the history of Six Sigma, there are 26 executive master black belt trainers for the Six Sigma training worldwide. 26. The young lady I'm going to introduce you to right now happens to be one of those 26. She also happens to have two partners that are also executive master black belt trainers with Six Sigma, part of the Six Sigma Management Institute. And I'm so blessed, I feel so fortunate to say that three of the 26 in the world, are going to be the ones teaching, training, and delivering this phenomenal information to you through your business with Six Sigma Social. So with that, Miss Sandy Harry, I know that you've been with us tonight and so patient as we've gone through our training. Would you do me the favor, please? I'm going to mute my screen and I'm going to bring you on, and please feel free in your own words to share with everybody what this Six Sigma Great Discovery training means to you, and how we together can build this company with your help and with your team and with what we're putting together. So with that, I turn this call over to the CEO of this great discovery, Miss Sandy Harry.
Thank you, John, very much. That was absolutely incredible. Very, very nice. I just want to say I'm very, very blessed to be here tonight talking to all of you and sharing and extending what John just explained about the great discovery and why I'm here. John is right. My late husband, we lost him earlier this year, Dr. Michael Harry, is the co-creator of Six Sigma. And I had the privilege of sitting next to him and working with him and helping him take what John is talking about, take Six Sigma down to a level where everyone could use it. And that's what we call the Great Discovery. And it has been just an absolutely incredible experience. I can't even express in words what that has meant to me and what it's been like. But when he passed, he asked me, as John said, to please carry on his dream. And he had a dream. He changed the world with Six Sigma, and of course that wasn't enough for him, but his dream was to take the great discovery to the world, to be able to impact everybody in the world the same way he was able to impact corporations with Six Sigma. I mean, he was so passionate about it, and he unfortunately didn't get to see that. And so I promised him that that would be my mission in life now. So I set out to bring the great discovery to the world. And I very soon realized that social networking was the way I was going to do that. That was the way I was going to get it to the world, because social networking is absolutely incredible. We all know that. So I went on a search to find the best of the best. And I found the John Costinos and the Ian Bratts and the Jim Lubkins, and started to form this team and these partnerships, and everything just fell into place. And it's been an absolutely incredible thing. But there's a couple things I want to talk about. First is the corporate side. John talked about having a social networking company that was safe, that people could actually join without a bunch of upfront fees and feel safe, and the majority of the people involved could actually make money, and it would just be phenomenal, and that doesn't exist. So after a lot of due diligence and a lot of conversations and fact-finding, I said to myself, I want to create that company, and let's find the people that can get together and that can make that happen. And I believe that's what we have. That's what we have pulled together. So what does that mean? It means, unlike traditional companies, you know, network marketing companies, they just don't have the depth and experience in their executive teams. They tend to build fast, they implode, things just don't go well. Pulling together and starting the company based on Six Sigma principles. And as John spoke about Six Sigma a little bit, it is a way that corporations can save billions and billions of dollars. It makes them very, very successful. So my philosophy is we're going to start this company with what we call Design for Six Sigma. Every process, everything we are doing is designed through and using Six Sigma. As John spoke about, I have 2 more EMBBs. You'll meet them later on at some point, Kathy Lawson and Don Drury, and that is the foundation that we're building the company on, is those Six Sigma principles, so that we will have the foundation and there will be no imploding on this company. I mean, John said 87 of the top 100 corporations use Six Sigma. You know, I don't want to be just big. I want to be big like traditional corporations. I'm going after the size of the Amex, AT&T. Those are 2 big ones that actually Michael deploys Six Sigma at. Very, very successful. AT&T's gross revenue is $163 billion. I don't want to just hit $1 billion. I want to hit hundreds of billions. That's what our intention is with building this company. So the first thing is we're going to build that safe company that John was talking about, that safe environment where you can actually succeed, you can grow your business, and it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. We have so much to share with you about it. I mean, we could go on for hours tonight, but there will be more to come on that, so stay tuned. So John also talked about we're going to have multiple products, things like that, and we are, and one of them he spoke about is the Great Discovery. So I wanted to share with you kind of a little history on the Great Discovery and how it came about, because it's an incredible story. As John said, Michael deployed many corporations all over the world. One of them was GE, right? General Electric. So they were deploying at GE, and they were about 18 months into the deployment. And Michael was sitting in Jack Welch's office, and Jack Welch was the CEO at the time. And they were talking and chatting, and Michael asked Jack, he said, Jack, what has Six Sigma done for you? And Jack said, it has allowed me to reach out and touch the control function of the company. I no longer have to shoot from the gut or use intuition to run the company. I know that if I turn this knob, that this needle of business is going to go up or down. Michael said, great, Jack, that's exactly what Six Sigma was designed to do. And then Michael asked Jack, what has Six Sigma not done for you? And Jack replied, what about my other 95%? What did he mean by that? Exactly what John said. about 5% of the corporation was involved in Six Sigma. So what about the other 95%? Jack was asking, what could we do with them? Could you imagine the power behind the other 95%? Wouldn't that be absolutely incredible? So at the time, Michael said to Jack, you know what, Jack? I don't know. We're making so damn much money. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. And they laughed, and of course they continued on. I mean, they had made $2.2 billion to the bottom line in verifiable savings in 18 months. So, but that resonated and it stuck with Michael. Continued on in his career. He was at Ford, deploying at Ford. Hugely successful deployment of Six Sigma at Ford. And he asked Jack Nasser, who was the CEO at the time, to meet him for dinner one night. So they met for dinner, and Jack Nasser got there, and he said to Michael, what do I owe the pleasure of this wonderful dinner with you tonight, Michael? And Michael said, Jack, I just want to thank you for that big fat check. And Jack said, I would have doubled it if you could just teach us how you think. So, again, Michael took that to heart. The other 95%, a way of thinking. Six Sigma as a business management tool was, like John said, it was training. It was in-depth. There's statistics and math and all this stuff. It was not simple for just the average person to use. But in Michael's retirement, he kept thinking about that. He kept thinking, could I uncover the cognitive roadmap that made Six Sigma so successful? Could I uncover it and synthesize it down to a point in a process where everybody could use it in their daily lives? And that is what he set out to do. So, and of course, in his retirement, and that's what we worked on, he worked on it for many years. He went through all of his records. He distilled them all down. He went through and found out what made projects successful, what made them unsuccessful, and synthesized it down to a point to where he uncovered what we call the proven path. It is the path that you walk down and that leads you to success. And then following that path increases your odds of success in everything you do. It will lead you to breakthrough in everything you do. You can use it for anything. We have had teenagers using it. I had a couple use it to save their marriage. They were getting a divorce, and they came to me and told me that Jay, the gal, I had taught it to her. We were using it for her business. And lo and behold, she comes back to me one day and says, I want to thank you for saving my marriage. And I said, oh my gosh, Jay, how did I do that? She said, I used the Great Discovery. We are happier than we have ever been. We've got the best marriage ever. Michael and I were both stunned. We never even imagined that the Great Discovery could be used to save a marriage, and it did. It can help you in every aspect of your life. It's absolutely incredible. So that's my goal. My goal is to create now a social networking company, the largest of its kind in the world. I want the best team, which I believe that we have assimilated, and I want to take the Great Discovery and many other products, world-class products. We want the best of the best so that people can actually get what they need, get what they want. They can actually come on board and make some extra money if they choose. They can work in a safe environment, in a place where they know that it's not going to implode, where the rules are level, they know the plans. It's just going to be an absolutely incredible, incredible company. And I'm really, really excited about it, and I'm really excited about the team that we've pulled together. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're doing. I wanted to share that with you tonight, and I will pass it back over to John, and I thank you very much for your time.
I keep forgetting that I muted myself. I thank you very much, and I've been getting text messages. So just to let you know right away, everybody that has texted me has said, wow, this is first class. Wow, she's amazing. So all I can say is I mentioned it last week. I'll probably continue to mention it. I feel truly blessed. I mean, honestly, I've got a very high opinion of what I can do and what I've done in my career, but I've never had the opportunity, Sandy, to work in this capacity with individuals of your caliber, but more importantly, with what you're bringing to the table, with your experience, the success of Six Sigma, and I know your heart space. I know what your goals and your intentions are with the Great Discovery. I'm humbled and I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with you in delivering that message to the masses and letting my vision, which is now since 1997, it's been, 2 decades, to go out there and create this safe place for people. I think I'm good at personal growth and leadership development, that type of training, but I'm a burp in a windstorm compared to what you have done with Six Sigma. So I'm humbled and I'm grateful for the chance to go ahead and join forces and bring that to the table.
Awesome, John. Thank you so much. It's going to be incredible. Very exciting.
It absolutely is. And I thank you for being here with us and look forward to getting the chance to share the rest of the team slowly each and every week as we get closer and closer to our official launch. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all that you do. For those of you that don't understand, we're not going to be able to get where we need to go without Sandy Harry and her team. And when I say this, this young lady is working diligently overtime with Mr. Ian Bratt, with Mr. Don Drury, with Miss Kathy Lawson, with Mr. Tim Bell, Mr. Todd DeHaven. There's just an entire team, Alexanne, Yvette, an entire team of people working so hard right now to create the company that we're going to introduce. And I just need to say this because people are going to give all the credit to John Costino or Jim Lupkin because we're the face for the network, because we're the ones that are network marketers. But it's not. I promise you. I almost wish Sandy would come back on and then let everybody know how completely absent I am with the entire process, other than a short call here and a short call there to give my opinion about something or to answer a question. They're doing this round the clock diligently because you've got such an extensive and successful management team building this corporation from the ground up that it can't do anything except be wildly successful. And I'm going to be fortunate enough and be blessed to just kind of walk in and be a big part of the field-facing side because the infrastructure is being built by experts like Sandy and Don and the rest. So I know you're still listening, Sandy. I can't thank you enough. And like I said, I'm happy to publicly give you the platform right now to let everybody know that John Costino has virtually nothing to do with the development of this company. And it's my turn to work my little behind off as we go live and begin to develop the sales force to bring this all together. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. And before I officially end this, Mr. Herschel Gibbs, I know you're still here. Mr. Ali Madawi, if you are still here, if either one of you would like to pop on with video, because you've been in this industry for a long time, you are experts in this industry. I am saying to the world, I've already said don't try to compete with me because you can't win. But now with Six Sigma as my corporate partner and as your ability as a field rep to access the finest personal growth, the finest leadership development, the finest problem solving, the finest critical thinking training ever conceived, you have no shot at competing with this new program. Herschel, Ali, anything that you'd like to share from a field leader's perspective? Jerry and Tracy Montgomery, if there's anything that you'd like to share, please feel free to take the time and do that right now. I'm going to mute myself.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Mr. Ali Madawi.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. First of all, I'm really, really impressed. As I was texting you, I was one of the few who was like, wow, I really, 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 really like her. I'm excited to have the opportunity to serve, help, build, collaborate, do whatever it is that we need to do. I'm here to tell every single person, and I'm pretty sure everybody would agree, it is time. It was time last week. It was time 2 weeks ago to get to work. And, week in and week out, it is just validation to where everything is heading, to how amazing of a timing and positioning. What a time to be alive. This is where we look back in 5 years from now and say, wow, remember when? So I'm really, really excited in every way possible that whatever that means, I really, a lot has been said, and I am overwhelmed with positivity, happiness, and emotion, and I'm looking forward to learn. I'm looking forward to collaborate. I'm looking forward to serve, and I'll give it back to the man, the myth, the legend, Herschel. I'm really, really excited, and I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be part of this.
Ali, before I kick it over to Herschel, I want to thank you. And for those of you that don't know who Mr. Ali Madawi is, I will tell you he's been a field leader, so successful experience, working his way from the ground up as a brand new rep to a field leader. But outside of the scope of network marketing and home-based business, he has gone on to a career as a consultant, a very, very successful consultant in the industry of network marketing and home-based business. He has been an entrepreneur for years. So outside of the network marketing scope, very successful in traditional business and speaks 5 languages. So when I talk about the fact that this company has all of the tools to go out there and be first class, it's going to be from partnerships like Six Sigma Management Institute to field leadership like Mr. Herschel Gibbs and Mr. and Mrs. Jerry and Tracy Montgomery, to the hybrid of Mr. Ali Madawi. And like I said, that's the secret sauce of what's happening here. And Ali, I couldn't let you go without giving you the accolades because, as I said, you're not coming on board just to be a field rep. You're going to become a major force in the growth of the entire company. And very soon, as you know, will be the corporate sales trainer that I'm hand selecting to come out of the field and to help me get the job done.
I couldn't be more grateful and appreciative, and I look forward to serve. Folks, I am here to work for you. You know, I appreciate, all the, I felt good. You know, it's not every day that you get recognized by the great John Costino, but I will tell you, use me. God has given me everything that I am so I can serve others. I've been through a whole lot, so you don't have to. I've been taught a whole lot, so I can pass it on to you. So I am begging all of you. We have a Facebook group. Post your questions right in that group. I'll answer it with video so everybody get a coaching moment out of it. So thank you, John. I couldn't be more honored. Appreciate you.
No, and I appreciate it. I mean, the fact that you already created that entire Facebook community to get the ball rolling for the folks here in MonyWize as we make this transition and as we talk about the Facebook communities, boy, am I excited for next week to introduce you to Mr. Jim Lupkin, the foremost expert in social media, social networking training, and someone I've known since he was 18 years old. So not just a tremendous expert, not just successful, but someone I've known for his whole adult career, and I couldn't be more impressed and more proud of, but more importantly, more fortunate to have become that third partner along with Six Sigma Management Institute and MonyWize. We've got the social point of view, which is Mr. Jim Lupkin. Mr. Herschel Gibbs, any thoughts that you'd like to share?
It's I'm just kind of at a loss for words, John, in a sense. You know, in your career, this type of career, you just hope you can find an element. You hope you can find this kind of an opportunity where you can be significant. You can be a part of something great. You know, you can be a contributor. I feel so fortunate, even working with Ali Madawi. I see what this young man is bringing forth, and I feel so good about the direction of what's happening with MonyWize, transitioning in to Six Sigma, it's just amazing. And so I, like Ali has said as well, it's about servant leadership. And I'm going to be doing my all to help empower and grow and move this company and this entity to the levels that Sandy's talking about. I feel blessed and honored to be a part of that. And so for all of you are listening this evening, my encouragement is to recognize that you're blessed. And John, I really am so thankful to you in ways you can't imagine. But it's a part of the journey. We're just starting. It's just phase 2. And I'm just honored to be a part. And I definitely will be doing all I can to make this the biggest opportunity out here in the industry, every bit of the way.
Well, I thank you. And as I've always said, the goal has always been to create the best and safest home for the masses. Let them find us. Let's give them a place to build, to grow. I call it the incubator, and I'm not going to name companies, but I was a part of the very first no investment network marketing company. We set records. It was an incubator for some of the greatest leaders in our industry today to have their first success. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, Herschel, because you were there with me. And then that one was, we don't talk about telecommunications anymore because people don't pay phone bills anymore. We have unlimited calling. We have VoIP calling. We have cell phones. But it set the stage for the model. And then in 2011, I pulled it off the shelf. We recreated in the deregulation of energy this time, not telecom, but energy. And again, we set records. For those of you that don't know, we took a company that was a year old, and it had done about $20 to $25 million in revenue. And in the next 3 years, accelerated by redesigning the company model, changing the marketing plan, changing the comp plan, and implementing a new training, which is what I did as a consultant and as an owner of this company, as a minority owner. We took it from that 20 to 25 million to in excess of 125 million the next year, in excess of 250 million the next year, and in excess of $400 million in yearly revenue. It was a 3-year run from a company that was struggling badly, very, very badly when I got there. What will happen with all of that experience, with all of that success, with all of that wisdom, with all that trial and error from those two companies, which, by the way, I will tell you right now that the majority of the network marketing gurus and the network marketing experts and the network marketing coaches all came from one or the other of those two companies. It's created some of the greatest success in the history of the industry because it was the first time that the masses could get involved, stay involved, and turn a profit, be successful. And see, both of those companies were basically taken away from the reps because of corporate management decisions, none of which I agreed with, that derailed the opportunity and robbed the reps of that. So for those of you that have always said, well, what's different about this one? I've already introduced you to Miss Sandy Harry, and you're going to meet Mr. Jim Lupkin. But what you already should know about me is I was never going to do anything ever again unless I had the control that it could not be shut down and it could not be taken away from the reps. It's no longer about me making money. I've made a fortune in this industry, and I'm not saying money's not important. I'm saying it's not the driving force. The driving force is if I'm going to go do this again, it's so that once and for all, there's a company that was built from the ground up with the right focus and principle, and that's to develop that long-term sustainable home that says if you truly have entrepreneurial spirit, you can try it out here, you can try it out risk-free, you can find out if you're really cut out to succeed in home-based business or if you're supposed to stay at your job because it's not cut out for you. You'll find it out in the safest and most efficient way possible with our new company, Six Sigma Social. And in closing, for those of you saying, well, when will this happen? Here's what I promise you. The first people that will have the chance to enroll are the MonyWize reps. I've never hidden that. I've never made any bones about that. We're going to launch a new company, and the initial reps, the people that are going to have the first shot at recruiting and developing and getting energy customers, are going to come from this group. That's why when I began to share this vision over a year ago, and I said to you, you can sit and wait and watch and be sorry, or you can trust who I've been for 3 decades and the mission that I've been on for the last 21 years. Join and run as hard. Don't just join and watch. Join and run as hard as you can and receive the reward of a lifetime. Because if our goal is to bring in 100,000 reps, 500,000 reps, 1 million reps over the next 3 years, where are they going to go? Where are those representatives and their customers going to go? They're going to go underneath the people who have not just been loyal, but who have been building in MonyWize. So it's not too late. I'm not giving you a date. I'm not giving you a deadline, but I am saying it's not going to be fair. Jerry and Tracy Montgomery, Herschel and Lynn Gibbs, they have gigantic smiles like someone jammed a coat hanger in their mouth. Why? Because they've done the work, they've paid their dues, they've been loyal, they have been absolutely over the top supportive in the worst circumstances, because they knew at some point the wind was going to shift, the wind was no longer going to be in their face, it was going to be at their back, and they were going to reap the rewards. Who else? Who else besides Jerry and Tracy and Herschel and Lynn? I know for a fact that's why Ali reached out and said, I'm watching what you're doing, Coach, and I want to be a part of it. That being said, John Costino saying thanks for watching. Be blessed. We'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. This webinar is officially over. Take care and make it a great day tomorrow.